What's up, everybody? How's it going? The John Browner podcast is here. We in the building. We ready to roll. I say we in the building. We ready to roll, man. A lot happened last night. There's so much to cover. There's so many things to get to. There's so many storylines. There's so many angles. Oh man, the people are getting paid. People are getting drafted. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. So let's get to some of it, man. I'm John Brown. It's the John Browner podcast as I do my who's and what's as I send things across the internet. I am here as always. Hold on. What's wrong with this? Why can't hold on. Technically, that's always I gotta hit a button. I'm John Brown. This is the John Browner podcast. If you are tuning into the show on YouTube, subscribe. We are almost at the number we started out with 300. We started this show trying to get to 300 subscribers. We called it the March to 300. We have almost achieved that goal, and I am pumped about it. So if you are new to the show, if you're hearing the show for the first time, head over to YouTube, subscribe to the show. If you're watching the show on Twitter, do me a favor and retweet the show. This is how we spread the range of the show, and this is how also the show meets people on YouTube. Subscribe, and then the numbers go up. It's a cycle. It's a cycle. So much on the show today. So many things. If you want to be a part of the show, you know all you got to do is head over to the email at jobrownerpodcast@gmail.com. We got some soccer talk coming up later in the week, so you know Coach will come back because the game is Thursday, so we'll probably talk to him either tomorrow or Thursday about what's coming up with USA Soccer later this week. In addition to that, actually it's tomorrow. In addition to that, you know my people at the Sporting Tribune, we popping. So I'm on the Sporting Tribune on X, so you can head over there, retweet that, or follow those guys. In addition, and last but not least, we're selling stuff. But the merch page, I got to figure out the best way to get the merch page up. But let's talk about what happened last night. So many things happened last night. So many different things occurred last night. The Lakers actually walked away real big last night with their pick of car. And then in addition to that, I wake up this morning and I seen that they've given Austin Reeves a lot of money. A lot of money before they gave Bron his money. So there's a lot in the air with the Lakers. I think the Lakers actually did have a good night. I'll get to that. I think that there's a lot to talk about in terms of the NBA draft. But before we get to any of that, let me see. Before we get to any of that, I got a question. I got a question for all my Padre fans. Is this it? Is this the turnaround? The Braves are a very good baseball team. The Braves have sound pitching. The Braves have good defense. The Braves, they battle at the bat. Is this the turnaround? Is this what we have been waiting for? Are we here? Have we arrived? Because the last two games, the 1-0 game, I came on here after the 1-0 game, and I bitched about the 1-0 game because I hate them. I don't like them. For this particular team, if this team was built on pitching, I would be all for 1-0 games. But you've got, I think, what is it, over $100 million per year on the infield alone. I don't want to see 1-0 games. I don't. I want to see games like yesterday. I thought them getting down early and then them roaring back in the second inning was an indication that whatever happened again, the Braves are a good team. The Braves are a very good baseball team. And they handled them in two ways I like to see win. Again, I don't like the 1-0 games because we've seen too many of them. But having a 1-0 game, having a 1-0 win is a good indication of pitching, and it's a good indication of defense. So it's okay to have them, but we have too many low-scoring games. Yesterday, all around, yesterday was an A+. You get a good team in your building. Not only do you beat that good team, But you beat that good team in a way where you're able to put points on the board. And in addition to putting points on the board, you're able to come through in the clutch. And not were you only able to come through in the clutch, a particular person was able to come through in the clutch. A particular person was able to come through in the clutch who we have been waiting for to be this guy. This is, again, I tell people all the time, reimagine how you think about certain players when things are not going well. Last night, regardless of what Manny had going on, the 185 batting average is still alive and well. But when you needed him to come through and have a solid at bat and not take one of these whiffle swings or one of these like emotionless, heartless like swipes at the ball in a key situation, when you needed him to not have a bad at bat, man, he came through. He did. He came through. He absolutely came through in a very clutch situation. You got your third home run from Tatis last night. So, again, we're not looking for him to hit 35 home runs. We're just looking for him to be productive as a baseball player. Last night, huge home run to tie the game up. And here we are in clutch situations. Manny, massive hit in the 10th. Tatis, massive home run, dead center. He had another hit earlier in the game where this ball Tatis hit, I think it was in the double he hit in the second inning. That ball was a rocket. And people talk about a lot about the velocity. He's hitting the ball harder than anyone. It's just not going out. Yesterday it went out. Yesterday it got in the air, and yesterday it got in the air, and yesterday it left the building. So everything I'm looking at, everything I'm looking at, yesterday was a success. I told you guys before this started, the gauntlet of series that they have coming up. This could be the season. You have the Braves, 3 games against the Braves, 3 games against the Dodgers, all at home. Then you got the Cubs for 3, then you got the Dodgers for 3 again, 4 on the back end of that. I came to the start of this homestand and then this road trip looking at the next 13 games and going, this is the season. I really felt that. And for them to have come out and the way that they won both these games, A+. This is the fight that I'm looking for. This is the attention to the opponent that I need given. Again, I'm not talking about winning the division. I'm talking about looking like you got some life. I'm not talking about winning the division. I'm not concerned about that. I'm concerned about how the team looks utterly lifeless at times at the plate. Last night, that was not the case. Last night, their ability, specifically in the second inning, that rally back in the second inning really saved the day. It really did, because whenever a starter goes out and gives up so many runs, this was the case. I think it was 2 years ago. Maybe it was 2 years ago, where it didn't matter who went out there. It didn't matter who the pitcher was. Buddy Day was giving up 3 runs in the first inning, and that went on for a while. And it was disheartening. It took a lot of air out of the team, because when you give up 4 in the first, it's over. But this team yesterday, normally when the team gets that many runs on the Padres, buddy, you fold the tent. You fold the tent and you're going about your business. When the Braves put up 4 in the second inning, it was like, that's not good. But for them to come back and get you 5 in the second, I really thought that was a massive, comeback, a big wave of energy, and that sustained through the game. It put them in a position to be able to. You don't need another big inning to win the game, because let's be honest, they don't really have a lot of big innings in them. And so when you get that big inning in the second, and then you get another one, you get a run in the 7th, and you get another one in the 10th, that's how you put games together. Get a big inning. I don't expect the inning to be 5, but the way that they were putting together hits, In the second inning, you had hits put together by guys at the bottom of the order, which, around here, that's really who been delivering. But then the lineup turned over, and then bang, here we go. So it was a good day yesterday for the Padres, man. It was a very good day for the Padres. I thought they showed a lot of resilience in that second inning. I thought they showed a lot of resilience from the bullpen. I thought they showed a lot of resilience just all around. Their ability to stay in that game after the second inning, take the lead, and then continue to have the pitching be big in spots to get you to the point where now you can win the game. The home run by Tatis was awesome. It was time. It was time. Again, we're not expecting him to turn into, Mark McGwire. But the ones he hit, they count. The ones he hit, they count. Hold on a second. Hold up. The ones he hit, they're counting for something. And that's what I like to see. That's what I need. There's something going on. There's some music playing somewhere. I can't hear it. Hold on. I don't know where that's coming from. Oh, okay, it's next door. Never mind. False alarm. Close the window. All right. So this is what happens when you record from your house. You can't control your neighbors. But yeah, very, very, very big game. Very big game. This was a series that I thought that they should have been able to come through it at the end of the day, and they have, and they did. But this is the first one of 3. It's the first of 4, and they've taken the 2 games. Can they take this third game? Can you go in this with the sweep? And then can you leave out of this going into the Dodgers series with some momentum? Can you go through this with some momentum? That's the question, because they need it. I think if they could get through this, if they could somehow pull today out as well, the amount of momentum that they would have going forward would be huge. The amount of momentum they would have would be absolutely huge. So we'll see. We'll see. I like it. I really do. I thought yesterday was big. I thought the at bat by Manny was big because it wasn't him just flailing at the plate. I thought the Tatis home run was big because we're not worried about him, but we like to see him. I thought the second inning was huge. After giving up 4, you come out and you get 5. These are the things that we need to see. The Peloton season for the Padres that we've been on, the running in place, the treadmill, the stationary bike that this season has felt like really. Yesterday felt like we were running in a park. Yesterday felt like fresh air. Yesterday really felt like fresh air. When you felt that happening in the second inning, yesterday really did feel like a fresh air situation, and I was happy to see it. I really was happy to see it. And anytime you get to hit a home run, you damn sure happy to see that. So, we take all wins around here, buddy. We take all wins around here. We don't want 1-0, but we'll take them. We'll definitely take 7-6 wins. So shout out. Big time for the Padres. Big win yesterday. Let's see if they can continue that today. They got another game against the Braves at 5:40 today. So they're all at this point, they're all solid wins. It's Martin Perez against JP Sears, who has, I think, just JP Sears' first start of the season. So we'll see how that goes. But Martin Perez, 6-3 with 2.78 ERA, 56 strikeouts, 23 walks. He's only given up 6 home runs and 50 hits and 68 innings pitched. So, oh boy, got your work cut out for you today. This might be another 1-0. But listen, 2 really good games from the Padres. So it's good to see, man. It's good to see. No complaints from here. As always, man, like I tell you, if you're new to the show, welcome. I'm John Brown. This is the John Brown Podcast. If you're watching on X at the Sporting Tribune, if you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe as we're trying to get this show to 300 subscribers. One step at a time, man. One step at a time. There's a lot happened last night. We've already talked about the Padres. If you're just getting here, we are now about to move on to something that I think benefits basketball. The Lakers cut a big fat check for one Austin Reeves, and that I'm gonna tell you something, man. The idea of paying Austin Reeves scares me. The idea the idea of paying Austin Reeves this much money as a observer scares me. So look, that's a lot of money for a guy who, whether or not you like him, you can't say he came through for the Lakers last year. $185 million over 4 years. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money for a number two guy. And look, I hear people saying, "Oh, this is the largest contract ever given to an undrafted player." I'm not really into all that. What if you can play when you get in the league? You can play. This the undraftedness of it doesn't matter to me. Jokic was a second round pick; he's an MVP. Draymond's a second round pick; he's a multiple time defensive player of the year. Where you get in is where you get in. Whether you were drafted or not, you got in the league and you were able to establish yourself. That's way more important than where you came from. It's where you at. And Austin Reeves has now achieved a generational wealth. And that's what I want for all these guys playing, man, is to be able to provide for your family and to be able to realize your dream. And he's doing that. He's doing that, man. So, but the basketball side of it, I have questions. Now, according to people who do the numbers, this does not hurt the Lakers' cap flexibility because they're going to wait to sign the deal until everyone else is taken care of. I don't know what this means for LeBron James. I've already discussed what I think this means for the business side of Rui Hachimura. I think Rui's going to get paid because of the Asian contention. I mean, the Japanese contention that's coming over from the Dodgers, from a sales perspective, how Otani's basically paying for himself already. I think any penny that they give to Rui is going to pay for itself in advertising that's going to come from Japan. But that's inside information. This takes us to LeBron James, and this takes us to any surrounding parts that the Lakers can now find their way into. So, is Austin Reeves, or can Austin Reeves be the guy? Can Austin Reeves be the guy at 185 million? That basically boils down, because I have it on my phone. Hold on, I have the breakdown of the year by year. So the first year 41, second year 44, third year 47, and a player option in the fourth year at $51 million. So this is going to prove itself. By the time you get to, first of all, nobody opting out of $51 million. Let's just bake that in. Ain't nobody opting out of $51 million unless you can get 52. And at the end of this contract, I will be shocked if he opts out of it. Because at that point, we would have had some clarity on whether or not he is the guy. Does he have the chance to be the guy? Absolutely. He's in position. He's getting the check. But the Lakers going all in on Austin Reeves tells me one thing and one thing only. They don't really have a lot of options. They were never really talked about in the Giannis situation. There's a Jaylen Brown situation floating out there. I don't think the Celtics have any interest in Austin Reeves at that price point. Watching what is left on the landscape, I don't necessarily consider the old Laker regime very smart with business and very smart with moving parts. But I don't know. As I look at the Los Angeles Lakers, what they're now doing, they're making a huge bet on Austin Reeves. They're making a massive bet on Austin Reeves, and I don't want to do that. I don't want a 154 at 40 plus a year for a guy who needs the ball, and your best player has to have the ball. So to build a successful team around Luka, this is not something that I think works. If you look at what Luka took to the NBA Finals, there wasn't a player like this on the roster. You need to completely build the team around Luka. Period. This is not built around Luka. This is built with him in mind. This is not built around. This is building the team with Luka in consideration. If they bring LeBron James back to this team, man, this is a play-in team. If they bring LeBron back in any capacity, this is now a play-in team, and I don't like it. So now to me, this signals that LeBron's probably gonna move on. Because this commitment to Austin Reeves, when you're paying someone this much, you're paying that person to be the second best player. And a lot of Laker fans will tell you, hey, man, when everybody was healthy, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, man, but then at the end of the season, everybody wasn't healthy. And that's the whole point. That's the gambit. It's professional sports. People get hurt. That's the gambit, dog. You look up and Luka's hurt again at the end of the year. And then if you look up again now, Austin's got a soft tissue injury here and there at the end of the year. And LeBron's just, being an Iron Man, but at 42, I think he'll be at that point. So if you're asking me, I would have tried to find a better way to spend that money because I know what Luka needs to get to the NBA Finals. I know what Luka needs to take this team to the NBA Finals. So does he, and he told you. And they responded by paying Austin Reeves $185 million. So I don't know, man. They're making their bed, man. They're making their bed. Super, what are you talking about? Listen, okay. Here. So when this show, the previous version was obviously San Diego centered. We just spent, I don't know, 15 minutes talking about the Padres game. What more do you want to talk about from the Padres? This is the thing I be talking about with people. This is the literal thing I be talking about with people. More stuff happened than just the Padres win last night. So we talked about that already. We gave that its due. We started the show with that. We literally gave that the due. So I guess my question is, what more would you like to talk about? What more happened in that game? What more did you see that I didn't cover? What you go at? Player by player? Like what do you want me to do? I'm confused. No. Don't you okay me. I know you're recovering from surgery, so you might be on them pills. What do you mean okay? No, don't you okay me. Now I'm talking to you now. Now you got my attention. What more would you like for me to cover in particular about that? Just let me know. Shout out to the chat pack, man. Let me highlight the chat pack real quick. We already talked to Soup. Raiders versus everybody. What's up, baby? Ass Technology. What's up? Graham in the building. What's going on, Graham? Yeah, Griffin Cannon giving up 4 runs is not a good look ever at any point in time. What is it? Totile Mexico. Listen, Mexico. I'm just gonna call you Mexico. What up, baby? You be up in here. Shout out to the chat pack. Andre Prado in the building. Lakers cooked with their max contract for a guy who doesn't show up in the playoffs. Yeah, man, I don't. Herein lies the question. Herein lies the question. What exactly are you expecting to get from a guy you're basically giving max money to when he's already showed you he can disappear? When you already know, you've seen Luka take a team to the finals. You've seen him do it. The roster didn't look like this. Who's Austin Reeves guarding? You bring back LeBron. Who's LeBron guarding? We already know Luka's not guarding anybody. You draft Carr last night. Drafting Carr, massive upgrade from anything you have on the roster from an athletic standpoint. I love this kid. I think I don't think he's the steal of the draft, but he will be one of the guys 10 years from now. People go, man, I can't believe that guy went in the 20s. Sometimes things fall in your lap, man. This fell in the Lakers' lap. His level of athleticism, his three-point shooting. And when we talk about building a team around Luka, This guy has a lot of Derrick Jones Jr. in him. An athlete who can jump over everybody. The question is, with the Lakers coaching staff, and I really do like the Lakers coaching staff. I believe their player development is going to get a lot better under the new owners. It's no longer a mom and pop business. It's a well ran organizational situation from top to bottom. They're bringing in a lot of people, so I trust the Lakers coaching staff, and I trust the Lakers front office people to develop this kid. So I think when I say Derrick Jones Jr., I just mean a guy who can jump that high and can make threes. But I think he's going to be a much better shooter than Derrick Jones Jr. I think for where he was taken, I think you're going to get a lot out of this dude, man. I really do. I really do. What up, Biggie? Shout out. So I did. It has been one of the biggest questions for the Lakers is how can you surround Luka with the right talent? You start the night really well with drafting Carr, like I said, who fell to you. And then I wake up and I see this Austin Reeves business. Makes it tough, man. It really does make it tough. Because with this Austin Reeves signing, you really telling me that you don't think Bron's coming. There are a lot of, and the people keep doing this Troy Murphy business. Troy Murphy's a good player. Troy Murphy is a good player. Troy Murphy, the third from the New Orleans Pelicans. But when you start showing me guys who do things on a bad team, I'm skeptical. Remember when the Lakers got Gabe Vincent and when Miami was okay and Gabe Vincent was making threes and going off the dribble? And then he got to LA where the pressure is different, where the expectations are different. Then you never really saw Gabe Vincent. Then Gabe Vincent became we gave this guy how much money? Yeah, I know he was hurt, but that's my whole point. When guys get here and the light is different, the energy in the arena is different every night. You got to get guys to show up. So when you're talking about bringing in certain guys from different teams, be careful who you bring in because the New Orleans Pelicans have been a losing organization since I can remember. I don't remember them being a winner ever. The energy around that organization is dead. The fan base for that organization is dead. Talk about a team that needs to move. They're A1 on the list of teams that need to move. They don't have anything positive happening for them. They don't have any positive energy. They don't have any positive outcomes, if you ask me. So as I'm watching this, yeah, Trey Murphy III was great in New Orleans. Is he going to be that for the Lakers? Do the Lakers have the amount of money that a player like that is asking for? Because I keep hearing people talk about Norman Powell on the Heat. Bro, Norman Powell is not playing for $18 million. You're on drugs. You're on drugs. Norman Powell is an all-star. Norman Powell is looking for the 185 4-year deal that Austin Reeves got. Norman Powell is probably, I would argue, Norman Powell is better than Austin Reeves. That's an actual conversation that you will actually have to have. In a debate, in a basketball debate, I would argue that Norman Powell is better. I believe he's equal, but I think Norman Powell is better than Austin Reeves. And Austin Reeves got 185. I mean, that's a very comparable player. And he got 185. That's $41 million on the first year. Y'all think Norman Powell finna play for $18 million? Y'all on drugs. Get out of here, man. Get all the way out of here. So, yeah, I don't know. The Lakers bet big on Austin Reeves, man. They really did. And we'll see if that bet pays off. I can't say it will. I honestly can't say it will. I don't know if it won't. Because Austin Reeves is a good NBA player, but to what extent, when you give a guy that money, are you expecting from him? Because that's all-star money. That's first-team All-NBA money. Do you expect Austin Reeves to be first or second team All-NBA, third team All-NBA? Because those are All-NBA contracts. When you hit the $40 million range, that's an All-NBA level contract. Do you see Austin Reeves winning some clutch player of the year? Do you see Austin Reeves being in a as your go-to guy in the final 2 minutes of the game? That's tough. That's tough. I don't. I don't. But the Lakers bet big on them, so they do. All right, let's catch up on let's catch up on the draft for whatever you guys may have missed. So last night the NBA draft went through. It went as planned pretty much. I think the only real standouts that occurred last night, because I was taking notes as I was watching. The first four went in order. I thought the Clippers made a very curious decision as to bring in Keaton Wagler. I'm not a fan of that. I know many people are. I thought Darius Acuff was the person there. The Clippers took Keegan Wagler, and Lawrence Frank basically went afterwards in the press conference and said some of the oddest things that you could say at the press conference. Wasn't a fan of that. Darius Acuff going to Sacramento at number 7. I thought that was unfortunate for him. I really like Darius Acuff, but nobody wins in Sacramento. I thought that the first Mexican American to be drafted in the NBA first round was an awesome story. I retweeted that because I thought that was an amazing story. I think anytime you have a guy who can do something for the first time and represent his country, I think that's what Karim Lopez. I thought that was unbelievable. The emotion that he showed, the emotion his family showed, the way that his mother was in tears, he was in tears. He was probably the most emotional person of the night, and I love that for him, man. I really do. I love that for him. I thought that was dope. I thought that was dope. Let me see. I have it somewhere. Yeah, there it is. Okay. I thought this was dope. Whenever you have these types of situations, you have these types of kids who do things like this, and they can represent their family, man, and represent their country at the same time. I thought this was the most emotional moment of the night. I really did. He was speechless. He was speechless. And when he did speak, he was proud of it. He was proud of all his hard work. He was proud of his family, and he was proud of his heritage. I think that's great for the NBA. The NBA is the most global game. The most global game that we have in America. And to have such close proximity to Mexico and to now have their first, high level NBA draft pick, I think that's awesome, man. It's better for the game. It grows the game. The level of emotion this kid showed last night, I thought that was beautiful, man. I really did. I thought that was beautiful. So, look at that. How can and it's great. That's what that night's about, man. That night is about acknowledging these kids' hard work, getting to the point where they got them to, and enjoying that, and speaking positively about how they got there, and saving the warts for later. That was, to me, that was a highlight of the night. It really was, because there was some people emotional, and I think a lot of American players, they're used to this, they've expected this, so there is some emotion there. But when the guy can't speak because he just realized the dream, and realizing you realize the dream in the moment. I think that's what brings these guys to tears. Like, you're on the couch, your name's been called, you just shook hands with the commissioner, and then you sit down and they're going to ask you some questions about it. But then you go, damn, I just got drafted into the NBA. Whoa. And that's where the emotion comes from, man. And then these parents have worked so hard, the countless amount of hours driven to these events and these games and these tournaments, to see your kid finally get there and realize the dream, man. As a parent, that's got to be something that hits you in a place where you move to tears. And that's what they were last night. It was a lot of tears last night, but Lopez had the most. And to me, that was special. Not only just for him, but for his country, to represent his country. So that was dope. All right, Graham, what are we talking about? Oh, man, okay. This is super talking to Graham. I just want a little crow to be on the plate for Brown, and he was picking the Padres to be 0-14 the next 2 weeks. I didn't say 0-14. I didn't say 0-14. I said 3. I think it was 3-10. I said 3-10. I ain't lying. By the way, they still could be 3-10. I hope they're not, but they still could be 3-10. Soup, you tripping? All right. Mexico asked the question: what's your take on the Wizards selecting DeBonza? I think that again. I think DeBonza was the number one pick. I thought he was from the second I saw him play this year. And in addition to that, I think what the Wizards now have with Trae Young, an All-Star, uh, Keon George, a good 3-and-D, DeBonza, the number one pick, Anthony Davis, the number one pick, Alex Sarr, by the way, the number one pick. They've got 3 number one picks in their starting lineup. I think if healthy, because that's the thing with Anthony Davis, and now that's become the thing with Trae Young. And plus Trae Young's an asshole. So I would say this. If healthy, I'm looking at the landscape in the Eastern Conference, there are a few teams I like more than the Wizards. And I know that sounds crazy to say. But if you watch Dylan Harper come out and take it to the Knicks in the NBA Finals and take it to the Oklahoma City Thunder, and this kid, DeBonza, is better than Dylan Harper. Bigger, stronger, and faster. So I'm expecting to see DeBonza average around 15 to 20 right out the gate. I'm expecting the Wizards to finish in the top 3 in the Eastern Conference. I'm expecting big things out of the Wizards. And I know that is a sentence no one has said since Chris Webber and Juwan Howard were on the team. I'm dating myself. But I thought what we saw from DeBonza being picked, and now the way that roster is laying out, they've got some players, man. Alex Sarr is very underrated and not talked about. I know the Wizards gave up 80-something points to Bam last year, but that was to get to this. That 80-something they gave up to Bam was to ensure that they got that number one pick last night, and they did. And I think drafting him at number one really solidifies them at every position as having a really good player. Again, they've got 3 number one picks. They got 3 number one picks in their starting lineup. AD's an NBA champion. AD's one of the best defensive players in the league. Alex Sarr is one of the best young defensive players in the league. Keyshawn George is one of the best young defenders in the league. They've got another kid coming off their bench, great defensive player. I think they've surrounded this team with a lot of good, young, energetic guys, and then they threw in some experience in Trae Young and Anthony Davis. Trae Young and Anthony Davis on the same team is going to be awesome to watch. You saw LeBron operate with Anthony Davis in the pick and roll. Trae Young operating in the pick and roll with the threat of the 3, with the threat off the dribble, with a 7-footer in the corner being able to shoot threes and then get back on defense and block shots. The Wizards are going to be very good next year. The Wizards are going to be very, very good next year. I mean, if you're going down the East, I don't know what's going to happen. The Bulls are upstart. The Bulls will be fun to watch. Milwaukee's rebuilding. Orlando's got some tough spots, but Orlando, good young player. But in a year or two, DeBonza might be better than Paolo Banchero. The Celtics apparently hate Jaylen Brown, and Jaylen Brown might secretly now or publicly, depending on what hour Twitch he's on, he might also hate them back. So as I'm looking at the Eastern Conference and the landscape, who knows what Philly's going to be if Joel Embiid's healthy or not? There's a lot to factor in the Eastern Conference. The Nets aren't going anywhere. The Knicks are great, but do you expect the Knicks to repeat? That was special what the Knicks did. You expect that to happen again? Because I don't. The East is wide open. Cleveland will fold because they always do. Shocker. So the East is wide open, man. There's no team in the East, and I'm talking. And by the way, don't worry about Miami. They won't factor into this. Trust me. I think Pat Riley showed his age with as much as what he gave up to get Giannis. He truly showed that his best days are past him. Will Mr. Glass get hurt again? He might. I'm sure he will. If I'm the Wizards organization, I'm going to call Anthony Davis and go, hey, man, It's June. Can you start picking up a basketball? Because this is a guy who famously said, man, I haven't picked up a basketball all summer. That's bad. That's bad. I hope Anthony Davis is in the gym somewhere, at least working on his physical fitness to endure some of these bones and these tendons and these soft tissues, man. So yeah, I don't know, but I like the Wizards. So that's a good question. I like the Wizards going forward. What else did I have? I thought Golden State got a great pick with Axelberg. I thought the Oklahoma City Thunder really put themselves back in fighting position by taking Amara with the 12th pick. So I thought OKC and Golden State had really good back-to-back picks. I thought it was weird to watch Joe Lacob yelling at Mike Dunleavy Jr. about the pick. I thought that was really weird. I don't know what the hell he was doing. You talk about overstepping your boundaries. That entire room looked super uncomfortable. I have that too somewhere. Let me see. Where do I have that? I have that because I saw that last night and I was like, what is this? What is going on here? Look at this. Let me hold. I'm gonna put it on the big screen so you guys can see it. Watch this. Right over here. Right over here. What the hell is going on here? They've got to call the pick in. ESPN goes to the Warriors, headquarters. Look at this guy. This is not good body language for somebody who's happy about the pick. He's shaking his head. They're talking about something. Mike Dunleavy is explaining himself vigorously. Vigorously. Look around this room. Do these look like people comfortable with what's happening right now? Look at this. Guys got their heads down. People are tapping their fingers. He's shaking his head. So, I mean, I like the pick. I really do like the pick. But this room, whoever this guy is, I think this is his son. Because his son is also a part of the organization. He's the assistant general manager, which means he's the boss because he's the owner's son. And I think this is why he's the only person in the room who's like, yeah, no. Put the pick in. Put the pick in. He's the only one like, yeah, whatever, dude. Just do it. I'll talk to him later. I'll talk to dad later. Look at it. Watch his hands. Watch his hands. Just do it. So, and then he puts the call in. So whatever that's about, that's not a good look. So I don't know, man. I don't know. Tito, this isn't going to happen, Tito. this plane won't get off the ground. That plane won't. Sorry. That's a great idea, but 2027 Clippers NBA championship parade will not be happening, Tito. Shout out to Tito, though. I try to read some of these because the podcast is doing good numbers, so I know people are listening to the show, so I try to let them know what we're seeing. But you can always come over and watch the show on YouTube and subscribe to it. But I think most of you do, so I appreciate that. MM Forever says, hypothetically, if the Padres sweep the Braves and the Dodgers on the homestand, do they become buyers at the deadline? Absolutely. Now, this is a question that this is something that we can talk about. So let me get this down because that's really kind of get out of here after this. This is a conversation that I think we are all interested in. Hypothetically, I'll read this again. Hypothetically, if the Padres sweep the Braves and the Dodgers on this homestand, do they become buyers at the deadline? I'm hesitant to say yes, but I think it has to be because I don't really know what the new owners and what their preference is going forward financially. I don't know what their financial commitment is, and I don't really know what the Padres have in the farm system outside of Ethan Salas that would really command you somebody really large coming back because they don't need, trinkets. They need pitching. They need starting pitching. And the only person that's really out there is Tariq Skubal. And what it's going to require for you to get him, I don't think the Padres have. So it really becomes a question of what level of investment do the new ownership have and what they're relaying to AJ Preller to do at the deadline. Because if they sweep this next 6 games, that puts a different type of energy and a different type of swagger on this ball club. If you sweep two division leaders in back-to-back series, I'll do you one better. If they win back-to-back series, two games to one against the Braves can actually happen, and then you get 2-1 games against the Dodgers, which could actually happen. I think the approach at the trade deadline actually does change. I think it actually does change. Because now you're looking at this team and you're going, okay, we just played 2 teams we would actually play in the playoffs, and we held our own against them. Not only we hold our own, we had a huge inning against Atlanta, and we also beat them 1-0. We'll see how the rest plays out. But if you walk away from this 6-0 or 4-2, I think it absolutely changes the way that you go about this. Absolutely. Great question, Double M. Ocean View Coffee Shop says nope. Andre Prado says, sad to say, I think we're sellers this year. This ownership just wants to finalize the sale of the team. Yeah, but even if you are not buyers, here's the thing. What you have on this roster, you have enough to compete. Your everyday players, you have enough to compete. You have over $100 million committed to your infield. When Tatis is at second, you have over $100 million committed to the infield. So I think I think you should be able. I think you should be able to compete. But I agree with you. The owners not being finalized is really not sitting well with me. This is taking a little too long. I know that some people are going, well, what's the rush? I'm going, what's taking so long? They got that. They've shown they've got the money to vote on something with all these billionaires. I'm pretty sure they're not all going to get in a room. This seems like a conference call situation, yay or nay. So maybe they got to do some background on their money or whatever the case may be, but I don't know. Tito says we'll probably go after pitcher Alcantara. That guy's the all-time strikeout leader for the Marlins. That's gonna cost you. And then this just goes back to my question of you're after him, so you know other teams are after them. If we're after someone, you know the Dodgers are absolutely after them just for kicks. So there are a lot of other teams competing that'll go after these guys that are available. And now this comes back to if you get into an arms race of do you have enough to outbid somebody else? The question is, do you? I don't know. It depends on the other team that's involved. Soup says they're in the chase, they're not sellers. We don't know that, Soup. We don't know that. Another good point from Double M. If there's a lockout in 27, what the fuck do we talk about for months in July and mid-August with no sports going on? Therapy sessions for U.S. sports fans. Get ready. Get ready. The World Cup's 1 year too early. I'm not going to say what there's going to be. If there is not a lockout, I will be absolutely shocked. If there is no lockout, then that means there's a salary cap coming for baseball. Because I think the owners, this is the time. And I know in 94 they said the same thing. This feels different. They're already cutting the minor leagues. The Olympics the Summer Olympics are next year. I think the Summer Olympics are next year. You're right. But this lockout, man, I think baseball needs to be very careful, man. And the players need to be very careful. I know no one wants to talk about this in particular, but what does the owner of your team look like? What does the owner? Oh yeah, okay. So Double M Forever says that the Olympics are in 28. He is correct. It's every 4 years. It was 2024 last time. So I asked the question: do you know what the owner of the Chicago Cubs looks like? How about the Texas Rangers? How about the Arizona Diamondbacks? Do you know what the owner of the Oakland A's looks like? Or Las Vegas A's or Sacramento A's or whatever they're called? Do you know what the owner of the Giants owner, you know what his face looks like? You don't. But you know what the players look like. And so when they're out there and they're trying to plead their case as to why they're holding out and why there's a lockout, fans will not be mad at the owners. You have no idea what the owner looks like. And you're used to being mad at the players anyway. It fits like a glove. In a lockout, the only people that lose are the fans and the players. And the fans usually end up fighting with the players. That to me, this is not that complicated. This is really not that complicated. As great as a comeback as baseball has made, you have the Dodgers doing what they're doing. So you have a premier flagship team that's actually putting a dynasty together. The Yankees are good again. The Mets are spending a lot of money, so they're in the conversation. In Atlanta, a massive metropolitan city, the Braves are good. The Phillies are always battling. The Cubs are good. The White Sox are good again. So Chicago's got a lot of skin in the game. Ironically, Chicago gets skin in the game when there's about to be a lockout, but whatever. See 1994, Frank Thomas, Robin Ventura, Ozzie Guillen, Jack McDowell. Um, it it's rough. It's rough. I think that if the players don't tap out, there's going to be a very long lockout because these billionaires, they know what to do with their money. They know how to hide the tax code. I think the players are the ones who are going to suffer. And we always think about Machado and Otani and Ophoni and Freddie Freeman and Rafael Devers and Bryce Harper. These Aaron Judge. These guys who make hundreds of millions of dollars. It's like 15 of those guys. It's like 15 of those dudes, man. There are hundreds of players barely making it. And by barely, I mean from a Major League Baseball standpoint. There are the Pirates have a bunch of players who cannot have a lockout. The Royals have a bunch of players who cannot have a lockout. The Marlins have a bunch of players. The Tampa Bay Rays have a bunch of players who cannot go through a lockout for an entire season. So the guys who make a lot of money who don't want the cap, they're wildly outnumbered. Wildly outnumbered. That's just the facts. This is why the players always cave. This is why the players always cave. That right there. The money. That's why they always cave. All right, let's get a couple more in here. Soup says baseball is slimming down the minors because we're pulling Korean and Japanese pros. They won't. That's why they don't care about drafting high school kids anymore. That could be true. That could be true. Biggie says, nope, I don't agree that there will be an extended lockout. Too much money to lose and much more money in gambling. Fans always turn on millionaire players and not only support billionaires. We are saying the same thing. You and I are saying the same thing. We differ in where I think that the lockout will be extended because the players don't want the salary cap. I think that's where you go this way slightly and I go that way slightly because I honestly believe the players will fight for this. The players will fight for this. But at the end of the day, they will fold because the public sentiment will not be on their side and the financial situation will not be on their side. And again, we'll talk about this. We'll have plenty of time to talk about this. Trust me. When this is actually going down, we'll have plenty of time to talk about this. But in short, I think we're saying the same thing, but we just have slight differences on how we are approaching it. Let me see. Soup. Where did you buy your crystal ball, bro? Did you get it for Father's Day? Maybe. None of your business. How about that? All right, Tito, last word. Great episode, JB. Oh, man, thanks, Tito. Shout out, dog. Listen, man, great show. Great show. Great conversation. Shout out to the chat pack for coming in strong as usual, communicating, having a good time, and enjoy and making the show great, man. I'll see y'all again tomorrow, 10 a.m. John Brown podcast. Till then, be safe, man. And wow, Lakers, Austin Reeves, Manny. See y'all tonight. See y'all tomorrow. Peace.